I think the ones that will be risking more will be the Rossoneri.
Yeah, because they
really want to win. Oh.
Hey, welcome to another FIF TV video. It's me, Dov. He's Vieri, as always. And
hello.
Hello, Vieri. Right, so this video is going to be all about the Milan Derby. The Derby della Madonnina, if you want. Is that pronunciation good? Yeah.
The best derby in the world.
Well, apart from Cable versus Verona, but that's in a couple of weeks. We'll do a video for that as well. Right, so we're here to talk about that game because it happens on Sunday night at 20:45 Italian time. Vieri will be lucky enough to be watching it on the TV. I'll be lucky enough to be in the stands, which will be fun. It's nice and cold, so that'll be great. So you enjoy yourself with your pizza and beer and whatever else.
Been snowing in Milan, so
yeah. So the conditions will be just right for a good electric derby.
A real battle.
Exactly. Well, we've had two already this season, so we've been spoiled. You were at the last one, obviously, in the Coppa Italia.
And it was freezing cold back then.
Cold, yeah. We thought it'd be finished by then.
27th of December, yeah.
So, looking at that game, which is obviously Coppa Italia, and the derby before, which was settled by a last-minute Mauro Icardi penalty.
Yeah.
Both derbies this season have effectively been game changers for the respective victors of them. Obviously, after Inter won the first one, Milan were rubbish, and then I think about a month later, Montella was sacked.
Essentially,
since the Coppa Italia win Milan had over Inter in December.
Yeah, I think so. Cutrone goal in the added time, extra time.
Yeah, they've been unbeaten since then.
They've been unbeaten since then, and I think it's incredible to see how now the two clubs, like after the first derby, the 3-2 win in Serie A, you would have thought, well, Milan are out of every potential Champions League race, and Inter could even challenge for the Scudetto, and how quickly things can change. Yeah,
well, exactly. I mean, the form of both teams is really it's the opposite of what it was at the start of the season. Inter couldn't lose, and Milan could barely scrape a win together, and now Milan are not only playing well, they look like a team. Obviously, Gattuso's fucking been amazing for everything, like above expectations for everybody. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on Inter because they shouldn't really have beaten Benevento in their last game. I thought they were very fortunate to get the win there, and they Inter 7 points ahead of them.
7 points. They would go down to 4 if AC Milan were to win, of course.
And it looked like all season that Inter were going to be the team that was going to get in the Champions League. But now, if Milan win this after beating Roma, Milan are effective.
Well, the momentum will be all on their side, and it is true that Milan still has another couple of difficult games coming up. But Roma was meant to be a difficult game, and they won it. Then they won at Lazio in the Coppa Italia. Like, they haven't conceded in 6 games. This is a team that have found the spirit,
form,
the attacking form, the defensive form. It's tough now to see Milan dropping points. Of course, Inter come to this derby, on the other hand, having to win.
Yeah, well, as all the pressure on them then.
Absolutely.
Like, everything's on Inter. Inter need to go into this, and they need to...
Well, Icardi and Perisic are back in the squad. They'll be starting. So Spalletti does have his best men at his disposal as well. Gattuso will play his starting 11. The one, with Cutrone up front, with Çalhanoğlu and Suso either side, Bonaventura.
Well, we'll come into the players later on.
But, no, what I'm saying is, so they've got no excuses as well. Like,
right, okay.
That all the best players will be there, so it's literally a matter of.
Do you think obviously Milan went to extra time in the Coppa Italia? Do you think that'll have much of an effect?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Gattuso's like, right, you're going to run hard, and we don't care. Like, that was just extra training. Don't worry about it.
They will.
Because Milan haven't conceded in 584 minutes in all competitions.
Yeah.
So obviously, compared to earlier on in the season, a complete change.
Absolutely.
They seem unpenetrable.
I mean, things do. They've been quite lucky in some occasions. Some details have gone their way, and that's it's part of the game as well, right? With football, things under Montella were always going in the wrong direction this time round. But having said that, just to be precise, other than that, Gattuso's
Gattuso's Grinta. Coaches. Gattuso Grinta.
You love saying that.
I love it because I used to. Well, I do hate it. I think I just think it's a word that people use. Like you don't really hear it very much in Italian, but I don't. It's not one it's not used very often. I don't think. Whereas like when you read it in foreign press, that's all they bloody talk about. Bloody Grinta, and it just annoys me that like, people have picked up on a word and that's all. Sorry, guys, all you foreign Serie A fans, don't say Grinta, please. But Gattuso's got Grinta, proper Grinta.
But don't just say Grinta, and because he's not just got Grinta, the team has been playing football.
Well, yeah, that's what I like the joke of. Gattuso's only got Grinta, that's it. But they've not. They've got. Like, I was at the Roma game at the weekend, and the team spirit, like it's something that was I've not seen at Milan for years. If I'm being perfectly honest, there's a team spirit there and a belief and a will to win that I think can get you through a lot of games when things aren't going your way.
Arguably, though, last season under Montella, when they managed to win that,
even under Montella, there's
trophy as well, the Super Cup.
There wasn't the same bond. I don't think. It's something you can feel. You can feel it when you look when after the game. I don't know if this was shown on the TV, but after the game, all the Milan players went to the fans, and then basically I think Cutrone had the shorts on and nothing else, and they were all walking, and Romagnoli I think had pants on. Basically, they went and gave all their stuff to the fans because there's just something that Gattuso's managed to create. I think his Grinta's a part of that,
and also the fact that he's a club legend. He's got that experience.
He's won everything
with him.
It's almost like Zidane in a sense. It's like when you've got a player who maybe say, yeah, well, what have you done? They maybe say that to like Mourinho or something if they want to argue. What have you done? And Gattuso as well. I've won the World Cup, I've won the Champions League, I've won Serie A. What have you done? And all the Milan players, apart from Bonucci, have done nothing. Exactly.
No, that's absolutely crucial. I mean, if you take that episode of the players going down under the fans, that wouldn't happen at Inter right now.
No,
that's the state the team is in right now. Even though the fans have been behind the team all season with Inter, same can be said about the Milan fans. So it'll be an amazing derby, even in terms of fan base and supporters. Inter need to get that trust back.
But do you think then obviously Gattuso's obviously a much more inexperienced coach? Do you think that Spalletti knows, he says, he can see where Milan are, he knows where his team are? Do you think he's got that tactical nous, that bit of cunning, that fullback?
Look, Spalletti's got 15 years experience behind him at the top level. He's done amazing things at Roma. Last season was such a difficult season for him, and in dealing with such a dressing room with Totti's last season. So I think he's got the experience to not be scared in this situation. And he'll know what to tell his players. And I think
these players need to take that on. That's the thing.
Yeah, of course. It's always one of those things that goes both ways. I think he'll know that he'd probably almost be happy with a draw as well. I think Spalletti won't be risking it as much as because Gattuso knows that with a win they're 4 points behind, they're back in the Champions League race completely, and they'll kill any sort of momentum for Inter. But if Spalletti stays +7 after this game, so
that changes the kind of how we go into the next part of the season.
Exactly, he'll still have 7 points advantage on AC Milan. I think the ones that will be risking more will be the Rossoneri.
Yeah, because
they really want to win. Inter could go 10 points ahead, but 7 is still a very big number.
Yeah, exactly. Again, especially given that Milan have got to play in that. Well, they've got to play Napoli, Juve, and stuff.
They've still, and also given the weekend, obviously with the other teams in the Champions League race. If Roma lose in Naples, highly likely. If Juve get a win at Lazio, which is also likely looking at the form of the teams,
then
if Inter even just got 1 point, they get out of the weekend with an extra
point. And then Milan get right in there amongst everybody properly. So yes,
it's obviously a very big weekend in whatever way you look at it.
Yeah, in the whole league. Right. So Vieri, what about key players then? The big one is obviously the return of Mauro Icardi.
Yeah, he's the one. Obviously, he's back after a while. Inter have missed him. He scored 3 goals in the last derby in Serie A. He needs to make a difference. He stepped up in the past. He needs to do it again. Inter need him because who else is going to step up?
Well, nobody has stepped up. That's the problem. And I think that for me as well, alongside Icardi, we need Perisic to be on form.
That kind of pairing,
because that pairing is fundamental. It was more or less the one that kind of got them to where they are now at the start of the season.
Absolutely.
Perisic has been out of form, looking like he might not start. So I mean, I think if you can get a good hour out of the two of them, kind of on top form, where they go all out and then basically destroy themselves in an hour, and they make something happen, I think that'll be, for me, key. I
think the other key thing is those kind of pairings on the wings for AC Milan, and the way Inter will react to that, because obviously Calabria, Kessie, it's not a pairing, obviously it's a trio. Calabria, Kessie and Suso on the one hand, and on the left we have Rodriguez, Bonaventura, Çalhanoğlu. Those have been almost the key to Gattuso's style of play, at least offensively. They've just worked really nicely. And on the other hand, we have Cancelo and D'Ambrosio, or whoever Spalletti picks as fullback, and they'll have to be extremely careful. I'm taking for granted that the centre backs at Inter work. Of course, Skriniar will have to be on top form. He can't afford any mistake, because with this Cutrone, you can't.
5 goals in his last 6 games. It just seems to be like everything he touches.
Scored in the last derby. Yeah. So Inter will have to be very careful defensively, I think, as well as up front, and then handling the pressure. I think that's a case for either side. If I look at the midfield, there's not any player who's got that much experience in these kind of games. The one that comes to mind for me is Rafinha over everyone else. He's made an impact in games coming on as a sub.
I think Bile as well is kind of.
And the other one, of course, is Bile. So there's kind of one per side.
Yeah. And the thing with Bile is he's just coming into form as well. He's been poor almost all season, but then in the last 3 or 4 games, he's actually started to show everybody this is why Milan paid 20.
Well, absolutely. And I think what in the mind of Fassone and Mirabelli, Biglia is not just from a technical point of view a central player, but also from a charismatic one and experience and handling of the pressure, which at this level is absolutely fundamental. So I think we're in every sector of the pitch.
It's like there's key players everywhere.
There's key players everywhere, but you got Icardi, Biglia, and then kind of the full backs on either side will be the decisive ones, we think.
Well, there we go. Right, so we'll give the people a prediction, Vieri, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm going all out. I think I've seen a lot of these teams over the last few months, and the way that they both are going in terms of form and just how they play, I think Milan are going to smash them. I think it'll be 3-0.
I'm not convinced, because as I said, I think Spalletti knows he could be happy with the draw, and Inter might be playing for that. So I expect a game a bit like Inter-Roma. 1-1 with Inter just about managing to get back in the game in the final minutes and win, and draw it, perhaps win it.
Well, there we go, everybody. That is the Derby della Madonnina. Let us know what you think. Leave your predictions down. Let us know what you think about what we've said as well. Obviously, do all the YouTube stuff, like subscribe, social media, everything is in the description below. So, that is all for now. So there's nothing else left for me to say apart from arrivederci.
Ciao.